Before 2011, which is when Playa Guiones started, the Guiones beachfront and a lot of the 200-meter part of the refuge was in really poor shape. So like we're talking about like this beach that used to be a cattle farm, all of its original forest ecosystem was depleted, like when it was burnt and cattle was introduced. Along with the cattle, obviously all the cattle grasses and the species that farmers use not only for the cattle themselves but to contain the cattle as well. When the land changed use and was turned into a tourist destination, not long after it was created the refuge. So like we're talking about like 1984, 1985, Oceanal Refuge was created to protect sea turtles. And Guiones was an extension of the refuge a year after the refuge was created.
What a godsend that was. Like that between the early people getting the green areas and getting trees to come back from the agriculture, tourism, tell me if this is right. It seems like this is one of the few places on the world tourism actually brought things back.
It is crazy.
Isn't that weird?
Nosara has such a unique history, right? So it went from being a cattle farm into being, as supposed to be, golf residency, tourist end thing.
It's a big country club development on paper.
I know. Thanks to that, they had all the neighborhoods done, everything sectioned, all the roads and everything. It was just like a clear path. So when that didn't came through, it was just a clear path for the people who actually came for that, and that didn't came. Like they led up the way to have Nosara become this amazing tourist community.
Filled with nature compared to other places, all off a colossal development country club failure that never happened.
It is crazy that what was supposed to be the golf greens turned into private parklands. And that is incredible for us, and I'm gonna tell you why in a few minutes. But also like the beachfront, someone told me like it was intended to become, back then it was supposed to be airstrip for airplanes, and then I don't know what happened, but the beachfront, which was clearly devastated, like it was not in a very healthy shape when it was even like a cattle farm, was left alone to its own restoration because in the 1980s it became a refuge. So there was this 200-meter setback from the high tide line, right? And then there's all these parklands that were created. Shout out to Nosara Civic Association for doing that amazing job. That's incredible. But that is actually a great example to compare like how quick like forest and jungle restored in these parklands, and then on the beachfront it didn't. And there was a bunch of reforestation efforts and activities done by the NCA and by the neighbors and on the beachfront, and all the trees were dying. So before 2011, which is when Playa Guiones started, the Guiones beachfront and great parts, a lot of the 200-meter part of the refuge was in really poor shape. Our founder, Max, after being successful in Hermosa, he wanted to expand the horizons and do a different project. And so from Hermosa, he came to Nosara and presented a proposal to do a tree planting campaign to the Nosara Civic Association, and they approved his proposal. They funded this first tree planting campaign.